Daf Lamed Zayin of Torah Ohr, full share. We're starting a new mimer, the second Rani V'Simchi at the bottom, the end of Lamed Vav of 36. So the pasuk says, and this is from the beginning of the Haftarah of Chanukah, Rani V'Simchi bas Tzafrah, that you should sing and rejoice, daughter of Zion, because behold, I am coming. So Hashem tells Bas Tzafrah, the daughter of Tzafrah, which is a reference to the Jewish people, that I'm coming, and therefore rejoice. So we need to understand this concept of the two words Rani and Simchi. Rani means to either to sing or to praise, and Simchi to be happy. So what are these two concepts? And also, what's the connection to Chanukah? I understand later on in the Haftarah, where it talks about a vision of Menorah Zov, of a golden menorah, that is to do with Chanukah. But the whole beginning, especially this pasuk, what does it have to do with Chanukah? And so to understand this, let's look at another pasuk that also uses the same word, the same sherish of Rani, ranenah. This is from Tehillim, Kapitel Kuf, that we say in davening after Baruch Shamar, Mizmor Seder. So it says there, Ivdu Hashem ושמחי, serve Hashem with joy, bayu lifanav yearnings, come before Hashem with either with praise or with song. The Zohar says that the serving Hashem with joy, that joy is in the morning, and ranenah, the song, is in the evening. So what's this mean? What's the concept of morning and evening, and the difference between simcha, which is morning, versus ranenah, which is evening? So first, we need to mention that the Malachim, the angels, their whole avodah, their service of Hashem is fully with singing before Hashem and praising Hashem. Like we know in Perek Shira, this ancient brisa, which goes through how all different parts of the world, all different animals and trees, etc., praise Hashem. So each one has a praise for Hashem. And Malachim also, each type of angel has its praise and its song. And the idea of the song and the praise is a yearning, that they yearn for Hashem, and that's all they want. They want to be included in Hashem. And they've got no other thing that they're interested in. There's what is about Hashem, and also they have no other way of serving Hashem and connecting to Hashem except through the song, which is their yearning. On the other hand, we have both. Yes, we have the yearning for Hashem and this desire to cleave, but we also have Torah mitzvah, so we can actually bring Hashem into this world. So the song that the Malachim sing, that the angels sing, would be a serious song. It would be a song of yearning rather than just a happy-go-lucky song. When do we praise? Because in the Malachim sing and praise Hashem, and ranenah also could mean both to praise and sing. So you only praise when you're not right in front of the king. If you're in front of the king, you're just shaken. You're in awe of the king's greatness. When you move away, then you start saying, you know how great he was. You know what I saw, this and that, and you tell the story. That's only when you're away from the king. And therefore it's chitzonius. Therefore it's the external level. Now, this is linked to the pasuk, which is another pasuk that mentions ranenah, this same concept of Rani V'Simchi. So the pasuk says in Ashrei that zecher of tuvcha bayu yrianenu. So zecher, a remembrance of Rav Tuvcha, your great goodness, will express. And tzidkascha, your righteousness, yrianenu, they'll praise and they'll sing of your righteousness. So this word tzidkascha, your righteousness, is Malchus, which is the sphera at which stage it gives rise, gives birth to independence, and allows other. It's the idea of speech, and like in Zohar it says, and this is in Pasach Eliyah that we say on Friday afternoon, that Tzedek is Malchus HaKadisha, that Tzedek or Tzedakah is Malchus, is the holy Malchus, and Mozni Tzedek, it's this, it's a just scale. The idea of the scale is where where Hashem is judging how much energy, godly energy, each creation can receive according to its needs, and how much how much of the yoke of Hashem can each creation accept. Now, this is the part we say in Ashrei as well, that Malchus that Malchus allows for all different places, all the worlds. It's the kingship of all worlds, and Memshaltacha is B'chol Dora Dora. So Malchus also allows for time, each generation. So it goes through all worlds and all generations. So now, once we're thinking about other, then we start having time and place, and all creations only exist from Malchus, which gives them the energy that they need and that they can take in. So before creation, there was no time and place, and creations which were limited by time and place would be impossible, except once the Malchus allows them to exist. And that's why we say about Hashem, Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimlech. Hashem is king, he was king, and he will be king. When do we have time, past, present, and future? In Malchus, in this level of kingship. And therefore, the pasuk says that Tzedek Malchus, that righteousness fills your right hand, because where righteousness, we said, is Malchus. Yrianenu is chesed, is expression, giving. When can you have expression? When can you have yrianenu, the right? Only after tzedek, only after Malchus, because if Hashem just allows his light to be fully manifest, then everything will be nullified and smothered, and therefore for others to exist and to be able to express themselves, you need Malchus, you need tzedek. So now, going back to this, the pasuk in Ashrei we quoted, zecher tuvcha yrianenu. So tuvcha, Hashem's goodness, is when Hashem gives of himself, hashba, a flow of energy from Hashem. And we talk about Rav Tuvcha. Rav Tuvcha is the reason it talks about the multitude, an abundance of Tuvcha of Hashem's goodness, is because there's so many levels that it goes through. When Hashem is mashpi, Hashem is giving energy, so then there's so many different levels as godliness evolves down until it comes into worlds, and then into even all the way to the physical world, and that is all due to Malchus. And therefore, all we have left is zecher. We just have a remembrance that we don't have Hashem himself. We only have a remembrance, a trace of Hashem's light. And therefore, there's this great sense of yearning and asking, like we say in Kedusha, that the Malachim ask, where's the place of Hashem's honor? Because they don't understand. They're not close and getting it there from afar. Now, this is the idea that ranenah, the song of ranenah is at night. Night is a time where we have concealment, which comes due to Malchus, and therefore we've got this ranenah, this sort of song of yearning. Now, the Gemara says that we have to mention night in the day bracha and day in the night bracha, right? We say in both day and the brachas in the bracha of Shema, we mention night and day, both in the day Shema and in the night Shema. Like the Gemara says in brachas that we've got Yotzer Choshech, so we've got right at the beginning we mention light and dark, and similarly at night we say Gelor Mnei Choshech v'Choshech Mipnei Or. Okay, so we've got this idea of that we mentioned night, even during the day and day even during the night. And that's because we want to have Hishtalshelus, like Zohar talks about. We want to have inclusion of day and night together, of revelation and concealment. They should all come together. That actually, from the darkness, when we realize how far we are, so that actually gives a greater yearning to come close, and therefore the darkness is connected to light. Like the pasuk says, that my soul yearns for you, it wants you at night. That actually, because of the darkness, that makes us want yearn for Hashem more. Because since Hashem's the light and the life force He gives to worlds is concealed, and therefore we have a greater yearning for Hashem. Because you can only have yearning and a strong desire when you're lacking something, and therefore lacking and being far creates a stronger desire. Now, this is the idea of the pasuk, bayu lifanav ranenah, right? We say in Kapitel Kuf of Tilim in Mizmor Seder that bayu lifanav ranenah, right? We serve Hashem, Ivdu Hashem ושמחי, serve Hashem with joy, and come before Him with ranenah, with praise and with song. So what's the idea? That because we're looking from this world and we're trying to go up and trying to get out of the shackles of the body and the animal soul to really cleave to Hashem. So it's a time of night, a time of concealment, and that's the situation we're feeling when we say the second verse of Shema, that is a time not where there's clear oneness, Hashem Echad, but where we're connecting only to the rays of Hashem, the name of the glory of His kingship. These are all words that refer to a ray, not essence. Only a small shine from Hashem, not His essence. And this is therefore because we're from afar, we're in a state of Baruch Hashem, so therefore we have this great yearning. But then we have a time of day and a time of light, and that is where Hashem reveals Himself in the world. And then instead of ranenah, instead of this soulful melody, we have simcha, we have joy. And this is the advantage of Malachim over neshamas, of the souls of the Jewish people, over Malachim, over angels, because angels, all they can do is yearn. Whereas neshamas, we can actually bring down Hashem into this world. And this reveals Hashem in the world, and therefore that causes simcha, causes joy. Like we know that simcha that comes from when Hashem reveals His light, brings down His light into this world through our Torah mitzvah. So that causes simcha, causes joy. And that is hinted in the pasuk of Shema bayu advarim ha'eleh, right? First we talk about after we love Hashem, we yearn for Hashem, but then we say, but these words should be on our heart, meaning we should bring Torah and bring mitzvahs into our lives in this physical world. Although we had this soulful yearning and song, but this is only when we're going from the bottom up, the state of night. But when we're going from up down from Hashem, so then Hashem in His essence, so at that stage, darkness and light is all the same. And then when He lowers Himself, like we're saying, Halo Hamashpili lyrics, when He lowers Himself to see B'Shamayim V'Aretz, then we see the heaven and earth. So then once Hashem lowers Himself, then heaven becomes before and higher than earth. But for Hashem Himself, everything is equal. And this is brought down, Hashem's light is brought down into the world through Torah mitzvahs. The 248 mitzvahs are 248 limbs, and every limb of the body has the soul, the life force of the body is manifest in each limb to make it alive. In general, there's the three lines: there's right, left, and center. Yamin, smell, and emta. Now the yamin, the right, that is tzedakah, that's mitzvahs, acts of kindness. Then we have the left is tefillah, and then the middle is Torah. And the middle corresponds to the internal organs, and which is and therefore Torah is like the deeper in the internal organs, whereas the rest of the mitzvahs are the external organs, like the arms and the legs. So when the pasuk says serve Hashem with joy, that's talking about when Hashem is revealed, brought down from above down through our Torah mitzvahs, and then that brings us to rejoice, because the mitzvah is something which is happy, and like the Gemara says, and similarly halacha Torah makes us happy, and because it, like we were saying here, that it brings Hashem's light down into the world, and therefore we're excited. But it has to start with bayu, lifanav, ranenah. It starts with that soulful melody where we're far. And then we have Ivdu Hashem simcha, when we come close and we can bring Hashem down from above. Next paragraph of Tziyun. So now we can understand the pasuk Rani V'Simchi bas Tziyun. The Jewish people in exile are called bas Tziyun, the daughter of Tziyun. So now we have a pasuk Yimlech, which we say in Kadosh as well. Yimlech Hashem le'olam le'kayachtzin l'der Hallelujah, that Hashem reigns. Hashem rules forever in Tziyun. Hashem should rule forever in Tziyun, and throughout all generations may Hashem be praised. So the concept is that we're talking about time, because we're saying Hashem should rule forever. So this is going into time and place, and this happens through Tziyun. What is Tziyun? So like we said before, that the limbs, the 248 mitzvahs correspond to the 248 limbs. And a limb is where the soul has to be manifest. So that it's not just a piece of meat, but it's something alive. And the Torah and mitzvahs, they bring Hashem down. And the Torah and mitzvahs, the way they are in their spiritual form, they are tzalmenu, they're Hashem's form, but the mitzvah as it is in this physical world is only a tziyun, it's only a sign. It's missing a lot of the power, the intensity, the spirituality of the mitzvah. We in this world just have the physical mitzvah, and that therefore tziyun, which means a sign, is our mitzvahs are just a sign, a reminder of the real mitzvahs, the way they are in their spiritual source. Over the page. And through our mitzvahs, we bring down Hashem's unlimited light. And like, for example, with the talus, so it brings down Hashem's makif energy, the energy which surrounds, and tzitzis bring down Hashem's energy, the godly energy that goes through tzimtzumim to make it the right size, and that's the idea of hair. And the same thing with every mitzvah and every and all Torah, that when we get involved in Torah, in this physical world, when we're talking about physical things, so that brings down this spiritual Torah, the light of Torah, which talks about spiritual realities. And therefore, our Torah mitzvahs is only a signpost, is only a tziyun for the real Torah mitzvahs, which is a spiritual one. And our Torah mitzvahs elicits that flow and revelation of the spiritual Torah mitzvahs. And that's why we say a bracha before a mitzvah, because the idea of a bracha is to bring down. The word baruch means both to bless, but also mavrich, to bend over a branch back into the ground, and then something new grows. And therefore with Yosef, he was called Avrech. What does this word Avrech mean? It also comes from this word bracha, to bend down. Yosef is a tzaddik. The idea of tzaddik or yesod is what flows all the way, sort of like Tiferes. It gives from the higher worlds and then comes down into Malchus. It gives Malchus, which is the recipient. So it goes from the highest level to the lowest level. And the idea of bracha is to send down into low worlds in order to have a revelation of Melech HaOlam, of Hashem over there. Meaning that there should be a revelation of Hashem's Malchus, Hashem's kingship, that the world shouldn't keep appearing like it's an independent existence, right? The greatest miracle Hashem does is that he allows for atheists, right? So the world shouldn't continue looking like it's running an autopilot, and instead we should see the spiritual source of the mitzvahs. We should see, the spiritual source of the world. How it should be revealed, Hashem's kingship of the world. So that's what we mean when we say Baruch Shem. When we say Baruch, that we want to bring down Hashem, and reveal Hashem's light, so that everything can see its creator, and then we go through Hashem's names, Havaya, Elokeinu, and then we say Melech HaOlam is the King of the world. Bring Hashem's light down low and more involved and integrated, entrenched within the worlds and even the physical world. So the Jewish people, when they have a source of Sata, when they are aroused and doing their avodah, their service of Hashem, so then they're called tzia, and they're a sign for the spiritual avodah. But in Galus, in exile, we're no longer called tzia. Now we're called just bas tzia, the daughter of Tzia. They were only receiving from Tzia, like it says in Zohar, that when a man and woman are intimate and conceive, so if the seed comes first from the man, so then the child will be a daughter. And what does this represent? That when the man gives first, that represents gifting without our efforts, without the woman's efforts, which represents Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people, in our marriage with Hashem. So then we've got Esrus Leila, just Hashem's awakening without ours, so it produces a weaker result. But and therefore it's called bas tzia, because in Golos we're not really producing. We're just, the fact that we still exist is just being gifted from Hashem. On the other hand, tzia, when we talk about tzia itself, not bas tzia, and there it says, we say in the paragraph before benching, when we don't say tachnun in livnei kerach, which comes from Tehillim, we say olatzin yeyamar ish ve'ish yolad ba. That man was born in Tzien, and that's Tzien itself is when we try with our own avodah, and then the child, the result will be zecher, will be a powerful result. So we start off with the ranenah, with that yearning, but then we move on to simcha, the joy of when we're actually being mamshich Hashem, we'll bring down Hashem's light throughout our mitzvahs. Now, this is why the Chachamim established psukei de zimra. We should say these psukim of praise of Hashem before we get to the actual duty of davening. We first have Shema, which is a mitzvah min Torah with the brachas before and after, and then Shema Nesrei. But before we get to all that, psukei de zimra. Why? This is to praise Hashem in a way that it should excite us. And similarly, when we continue, the first bracha of Shema talks about the Malachim's excitement for Hashem, and that's also for this similar purpose. And that we should also have this yearning for Hashem and be excited and passionate for to want to cleave and come close to Hashem. On the other hand, and then we move on to the next stage of simcha, when Hashem is revealed. On the other hand, when we have this just no ranenah, where we didn't have none of our own effort and our own yearning, so then the simcha won't be so strong. It will only be nekeva, will be only a daughter will be born, because it's not coming from our own efforts. On the other hand, when it is from above, and we do put in our own effort, so then we have a ishvish yulad bar that a something strong comes out because it started with us. Now, this links back to the difference between Ivdu Hashem ושמחי and lifanav ranenah, that when we start off with our efforts, then what comes to the impact and what comes to us will be the more powerful revelation of Hashem, and therefore causing us simcha, joy. Whereas what we start with our own efforts is only ranenah, is the yearning. We don't yet have revelation, but we're yearning for something and we're singing towards something. Now, this is the purpose of Pesukei Zimra, in order to excite us, and that's to start our yearning. And then afterwards, Hashem can gift us with, to let his presence be manifest upon us. And then we continue in the first bracha of Shema, talking about how all the Malachim yearn for Hashem, and they cry out Kadosh, etc. And what we want is, we're saying to Hashem, liberate us. Remove the shackles of the nefesh bahamis, our animal soul and our body, and let us just soar towards you. On the other hand, if we don't have our own efforts first and we just go straight to the gifts from Hashem, then it's going to be only a nekeva. If we start off just with Hashem, just with the males, then the result will be only nekeva. Hashem will still gift us regardless. As an Esros Elon, awakening from above, even if we don't do anything ourselves, but it will be weaker and it will only be superficial. But if we want pnimius, bayu lifanav, yearnenu, that comes through our own yearning, our own efforts to connect to Hashem. And now, in the times of Galus, where there's the less revelation of Hashem, so then the Jewish people are called bas Tziyun, and we might feel disheartened. So we should know that even when we're only basti and we're only with this sort of low level where godliness is not manifest, but still Rani V'Simchi, you can still sing and rejoice because Hashem is still present. Like the pasuk says that we're quoting from Zechariah, that Hashem is coming, that Hashem comes and he dwells among us. No, Hashem says Hashem. That's in that very same pasuk, Rani V'Simchi. And actually, originally, and now, so we still yet haven't come to Mashiach, and therefore, while you have just your basti and your sort of limited level of revelation. So then it's weak. But with Mashiach, even this just simple obedience when we're not inspired, so that will also be great. It will be elevated and to the highest levels, like we say about Mashiach, that he judges through sense, meaning this makif energy, this beyond energy, and therefore we say that's a tziyun, not the Torah of tziyun, but tziyun, which is where we reflect more clearly godliness with Mashiach. Man and man is born there, that whether or not we put in our own efforts first, either way, the result will be something powerful like man rather than the daughter, which is weaker. And therefore we say in Livnei Korach, Tehillim Perek Pei Zayin, which is we say before at the beginning of benching, so we say V'hu yearnenu Elyon, that he will establish it at the highest points, that Hashem's place to dwell in the highest levels, and therefore the pasuk in the Haftarah says that Hashem is coming and will rest among us. So this is all through our efforts to create this yearning for Hashem, which we do in Pesukei Zimra in the first bracha of Shema. But let's say we don't do that, we can't do that. So what's the other option? So the next best, or in a way even more powerful, is Chanukah licht, the lighting of the Chanukah candles, because what happens there is we're lighting the lights, which refers mostly not just physical lights, but the lights of our soul outside, meaning that we reveal godliness even in the place of concealment, even when we're not excited. So just because we're not excited, the Alter Rebbe says, just because you don't have ranenah and ispailas halev, you don't have this singing praise of Hashem and excitement in the heart, not because of that will you lose out on revelation of Hashem. And therefore the solution instead is to light Chanukah candles outside, which draws down Hashem's light into all our Torah mitzvahs that we do. And really the menorah was lit outside, meaning that even in the place of klippah, it's transformed to holiness. And that's why the next pasuk in the Haftarah continues, that many nations will join up with Hashem, because the Rani, this yearning for Hashem, and then simchi, excitement, it with Mashiach, and eventually it spreads out everywhere, even to the nations who don't deserve it. They haven't done their own avodah, but they'll still just be brought to Hashem by the just the energy that they feel automatically. Okay. Beer, this is in the final column of the daf. The beer, it repeats some of the same concepts that we learned and adds in a few more. It says that ציון is within Atzilus, the sign of Hashem, whereas Bastion is when this light descends into the lower worlds of Biyah in order to refine the holiness, find the sparks of holiness within this state of other, of Biyah. And Rani, this song of yearning, is like fire, whereas simchi, happiness, is with we're not from afar, but from Hashem being revealed. Like we said that with Malachim, all they have is yearning, whereas we can reveal Hashem. Now the Alter Rebbe quoted this Mishnah, Kol Ba'al Shir, that all masters of song, literally the Mishnah is talking about everything that has a collar can go out with a collar on Shabbos. But what it means of Pichasidus is that all masters of song can go out with song. What does it mean go out? That they go beyond their limitations and their containers through this song, through this yearning for Hashem. Whereas although there's a difference between speech and song, that with speech it's about the words, whereas song, it's you don't even have to say anything, so that's an advantage of song. It's beyond words. On the other hand, where do you get this whole idea of singing and praising to Hashem? You're saying, you know how great that Hashem was. I was just before Hashem. So when do you sing? When you're away, when you're right there, you're in the experience, you're just totally silent. And therefore, it's ranenah is this, in a way, superficial level. But only when they go out, that's when the shira starts. Like we said, Yotz and Bashir, when they go out, then they've got song. Like we said, that there's an advantage of song as well, which it's beyond words. But either way, so the main midah, which is connects us to Hashem, is ava. There's different types of ava, different types of love. There could be just a simple pleasurable love, then there could be a love with yearning from being afar, and in a way a state of bitterness from being afar. In general, ava, love, is every day, and this is like Aaron's cloud. That there was a cloud in the merit of Aaron, but then we have sukkahs for 7 days with 7 different Malachim energies, and all of them are sourced in this single cloud of Aaron. So ranenah is a state of gevura, yearning for Hashem, and therefore it's at night. And there are many tzimtzumim needed in order to come to this state of other, and that's where we have this yearning. When we then try to go back and connect to Hashem, so we can't understand Hashem is beyond us, and it is only through Malchus that we can understand. We can't understand Malchus, but not Hashem's Ein Sof itself. And then we have Raninah, this song of yearning. And this is what Malachim do the whole time. Whereas we also have hamshacha. We can also bring down Hashem through our Torah mitzvahs. And there are 248 limbs, which every limb has life force in it. That's what makes it alive. And the reason there's 248 is because there's 9 midas times 9 is 81. And each of these 9 times 9 midas has its top, its middle, and its bottoms. Therefore, you have 81 times 3 is 243. And then the final 5 is the hechasadim at the top. Now we're now at the top of Lamed Ches. The 5 parts of the attribute of kindness. And beyond the midas, beyond even midas is chachma, and beyond that even is keser, is Hashem's sort of surrounding energies which are beyond any container, and the neshamas, the souls of the Jewish people, receive this light, which is from Hashem's midas, and from even beyond, like we said, from chachma, and even beyond that as well. And we have to remember to have these 2 stages. First, ranenah, first this song of yearning, from being afar and not being able to come forward to the King, to Hashem. And then the second stage is hamshacha, that we actually come close and we bring down Hashem's light into our world, and that's through Torah mitzvahs. And in Shema, this reflects that first we have after the state of yearning, like we said, and then where we bring down Hashem into our Torah and our mitzvahs.